right now, Logan Mize up a game on Jason Smith. We'll get you updated on the board. Logan is at 20, but he appears to be having a rough go of it. He has a Bounding Krasis and a Sylvan Advocate in play, but only 4 lands, so it's a 2-3. Meanwhile, on Smith's side of the board, he's got, well, I guess it's not as many permanents as it looks like. There's a Clue token and an Oath of Nissa there, so we can be a little more cautious.
Also, the Elvish Visionary is...
Yeah, Elvish Visionary is a creature.
Not carrying a lot of weight.
She's got that. Now, some things that Jason has among... Yeah, it's actually on Jason Smith's deck. This is a copy of Cryptolith Rite, and that's what I thought it was. And yeah, that is unexpected here for sure.
Yeah, this is definitely a weird card to be seeing here. We have this green-white Eldrazi Displacer deck going on here. This is really interesting. You know, typically we see green-black Cryptolith Light decks. So this looks like it's a green-white token deck.
Yeah, I think there's a possibility that there's more than one Jason Smith in this tournament. So we'll pause and say he's playing. I think he's playing the green-white tokens deck.
Apologies for that.
So Logan is on Bant Company, but up here it looks like we're playing against green-white tokens.
I suppose it's rare for Jason to be in a room where nobody has his exact first and last name.
Could happen. All right, so Logan will swing with Bounding Krasis. It looks like it's going to be a block, and mana will be used with Elvish Visionary to displace the Bounding Krasis. So no attacks there. You know, I'm looking at this with Cryptolith Rite and Eldrazi Displacer. That's pretty filthy. Fortunately for Logan, he can fight down the Eldrazi Displacer.
Yeah, and here's a really cool thing that's going on Jason's side is the Cryptolith Rite could matter a lot, but the Dromoka's command can't force him to sacrifice it because of the Oath of Nissa.
Yeah, so it gives him insurance there. So Logan was able to put a 1/1 counter on Sylvan Advocate, have it fight down Eldrazi Displacer, and it was important here how he sequenced all of this because he needed Jason to tap out of Eldrazi Displacer mana so that Jason didn't just displace in response to the Dromoka's command.
Right.
So if Jason was willing to take damage there off Krasis, then even that wouldn't have worked. Second Westvale Abbey in play for Smith. He'll play a copy of Blister Pod. And then a pass. So without Displacer, he doesn't have that mana sink just yet. But I think we're building up to maybe Westvale Abbey.
Right, there's Abbeys hanging out in the battlefield. With the Cryptolith Rite mana, he's able to start making those 1/1 tokens and build up towards Ormondal. Has a little bit of life to play with, but not a ton.
Now, we saw the green-black tokens deck yesterday in the hands of Harlan Fear. Looking at the white version, it really does look like the payoff is you get to play some copies of Archangel Avacyn. He has... Interesting to his list, he has Eldrazi Displacer as well, which is a great card.
Well, he has Brood Monitor to go with his
He does have Brood Monitor
Displacer.
with Displacer. That's quite the combo. Indeed. You can just do that as many times as you want. I don't know if that gets him anywhere other than being neat.
With the Cryptolith Light, we can generate an arbitrarily large amount of mana. Or no,
they don't
you
have
can't because
haste.
they're tapped and they don't have haste. You don't just tap a creature, you have to tap it.
There's no Zulaport Cutthroat to finish the combo. I wish.
Yeah,
I
like
wish. I'm telling you, I want to have the full combo.
I'm thinking there's a half a combo in this deck.
All right, so all the man here is going to make Archangel Avacyn on Smith's side.
Over a couple turns, he can make a lot of mana, but...
Looks like we're going to have to back up because the Blister Pod not having haste here. So Jason not going to be able to make Avacyn just yet. Logan on his turn made a Morph. So a little misstep on Jason's side here as we go back to his turn. He's going to be casting, we'll see here. It looks like an Elvish Visionary to start. He'll draw a card. And for the record, this is 8.5 minutes remaining, and they're just in game 2 at the moment.
Oh, wow.
That is definitely a concern.
Yeah, with Mize up a game, Jason needs to close this one fast.
And now he will make a copy, it looks like, of Thraben Inspector.
Band Company is one of the decks in the formats that's surprisingly good at dealing with Ormondal. You can buy some time with Bounding Krasis, bounce it with Reflector Mage.
Now, Logan, not one of the players this weekend who's playing Eldrazi Displacer, so he doesn't have the great answer to it.
Right. Did just get a Declaration and Stone back with his Den Protector. That one also plays.
It does play here, yeah, especially against Ormondal. Now Jason doesn't have enough mana to Ormondal on end step. He also can make that Avacyn that both players know Smith is sitting on.
Yeah, both the Ormondal and the Avacyn threatened to close this game in very short order.
So we'll see where we go here. Logan actually can start attacking with Den Protector, despite all the things on Jason's side of the board. He doesn't have a great answer to it. He's going to go ahead and make Avacyn, looks like. That's something that could block Den Protector, but Logan knew about this, so he's going to be at the ready, and he is. It's Dromoka's command. Sylvan Advocate's going to get one counter and fight Avacyn off the battlefield.
That's a big swing for Mize.
Wow, what that he got to make that trade is phenomenal for Logan.
Right, and Smith has to tap off of Ormondal mana to cast that Avacyn.
Oof, okay. Well, it does have haste, so he can just activate the Westville Abbey this next turn on his main phase, I suppose.
Right, that is still true, though. That's all he's going to be doing over the course of 2 turns that actually amounted to anything. So the tempo is not irrelevant, even with that being the case.
Yeah, he loses that tempo there and then goes ahead and goes down to 10. Now, if you're looking at the lands here, there is a copy of Blighted Step on the battlefield for Jason Smith. So if you haven't played a lot of Battlefield Center card Limited, this card really matters actually on this board state. It is a colorless mana that for 3 and a white, you can sacrifice it to gain 2 life for each creature you control.
Yeah, a Congregate land.
Which, for an effect on a land, is an immensely powerful thing. There was a whole cycle of these. A lot of them made players sacrifice a creature, dealt 2 damage. The ability to gain, 14 life with one card is really quite strong.
Indeed, especially if he's able to connect with the Ormondal on top of that. Jason has a lot of avenues to make this game go longer, and there's a lot of pressure on Mize to have specific things to close this game. Mize has a negate in hand, but that's not going to interact with either of these lands' abilities.
All right. So we're going to make another Avacyn here from Jason. This is on the on the Den Protector attack. Again, can Logan respond with another Dromoka's command? Maybe a Bounding Krasis to tap.
If he doesn't have him, he's going to be in trouble.
And Logan not quick to fire off that Dromoka's command, and you're right, the Den Protector just will get beaten down by the Archangel.
Logan already had plenty of ground to make up. Now it's not clear that he'll be able to win this game.
Just 5 lands in play for Logan, now facing down a horde of creatures on Jason's side. He will answer Avacyn. He had a copy of Declaration of Stone in his hand. But that just leaves a very difficult board here. Jason Smith is at 10 life, but has 4 creatures in play. None of them particularly good. Thraben Inspector, Blisterpod, 2 Elvish Visionaries. But 2 copies of Westville Abbey and a copy of Sagiri, or of Blighted Step should be enough that he can gain life. He can make a 9/7. It's going to be tough for Logan to kill him here. His play is Duskwatch Recruiter. Maybe that'll help him find something. If Logan had Eldrazi Displacer, I think that's what he'd be building towards. Having played Cryptolith Right decks, that card is a complete beating against Cryptolith Right. It deals with nearly everything they do.
Right, that Ormondal is not going to be amounting to anything with the Displacer in play.
Your Hangback Walkers don't work. Your tokens don't work.
And you don't displace an Elvish Visionary, but the Visionary actually just doesn't matter. You just attack into it.
Yeah, so a 5th creature here from Jason, and now let's not even go the Westville Abbey things. He's going to play a copy of Nissa, Voice of Zendikar. I imagine with 5 creatures in play, he's going to be looking to pump the team.
Right, and Smith leaving up that blighted land.
Oh yeah, don't take that one down
Presumably
anymore.
The plan is going to be, if he even makes an Ormondale at all, is to gain the life before that happens.
Well, he's just going to keep control of the game. He's going to make a plant token with Nissa. I'll get a 7th creature on the board.
Playing pretty conservatively here. I don't think that his deck is going to be able to win a game 3.
So if that's the case, yeah, he needs to make sure that he actually wins game 2 to force the draw, right?
Exactly.
If the game ends without game 2 having a conclusion, Logan will win this match.
Yeah, so I don't think that Logan can actually win at all, but I don't think that he could win a game 3 in time. And Jason seems like he can definitely win, but he needs to make sure that he does it before turn 5 of turns comes around.
Logan playing land number 6. We look at the cards in his hand. It looks like he has at least 1 copy of Negate. He has 2 cards in hand. 6 mana gives him the option to activate Duskwatch Recruiter. Looks at Jason's whole board. And this is an interesting spot from Logan where he has to figure out just... yeah, I think he knows he can't win, but how can he best stall the game?
Right.
He'll swing Sylvan Advocate with Vigilance. That's a 4/5. He's attacking Nissa for what it's worth. That, I mean, certainly not going to connect.
Right. Smith has a relatively free block just with the Blister Pod and just a bunch of otherwise expendable creatures.
That's what's happening.
If we throw away the plant token, I would like to see an activation of the land to gain some life before that happens. So the Blister Pod is pretty much just free to throw right in front. It'll replace itself with the Scion.
So that block is made. Nissa takes nothing. Blister Pod's in the graveyard. Now we have a Scion token to play. Logan will pass the turn. No end step play here from Jason. The Duskwatch Recruiter is going to transform. Before it does on Jason's upkeep, Logan is going to use its ability at least once. Yeah, we'll use it, and then it will transform. Looks like he got a card off it. We'll confirm just what that card is. Without some sort of trump like Eldrazi's Placer, I'm not certain it really matters. I don't think... Logan is playing for a draw here.
Right. And he could, if the plan was to make Ormondal, things like Bounding Crisis would be very good for that strategy. But if Jason just starts making +1/+1 counters with this Nissa, that's not going to do enough.
And it looks like Jason's going to start trying to amp things up here. It's a tap of 5. We'll confirm what it is, whether he's activating... Oh, he's going to make a human token with Westvale Abbey.
Seems like a lead up to a -2 on Nissa to me.
Yep. And now Nissa will pump the team. So, Scion, and boy, talk about getting beaten up by a real motley crew of little things. Scion token, plant token, visionary, human, Thraben Inspector. Nothing with base power of more than 1. Some of them even 0s, but they all have counters now.
This is a really weird team. Usually you don't see the Eldrazi on a team with an allies.
We have hit time in the round here on extra turns. Jason was turn 0, so this means Logan. We're not on Logan Mize's turn. This is turn 1. Plays another Duskwatch, a pair of Duskwatch Recruiters. He's just trying to get enough blockers in play to survive, it seems.
Yeah, that's definitely a line here. If he has enough creatures to throw 5, he has 5 creatures, so he can throw those in front of 5 of Smith's creatures. They'll all be 3/3s, so Smith won't have lethal on the next turn the way that the blockers line up.
All right, we need to correct ourselves here. The time was called during Logan's upkeep, so Logan is turn 0. So Logan will have turns 2 and 4. Jason will have turns 1, 3, and 5. For Logan Mize, that turn, boy, so he's going to have to survive 3 turns here from Jason.
So if I'm Jason here, I like just not blocking the Advocate and gaining life with the land here.
Well, it depends. The Advocate may be attacking Nissa.
In that case, you do have to throw a blocker in front.
And if I'm in Logan's spot, I suspect that's where it's going.
Yeah, that attack would make a lot of sense. So he's doing some math on whether or not he can throw a bunch of creatures in front of the Advocate. And with how few turns are left in the game, you probably throw away more creatures to blocking the Advocate than you do to the Advocate blocking you. So I think that the line here is just to throw one creature in front of the advocate.
Yeah, the question is whether you put one in front of it or whether you try to kill it.
Right.
I think letting Nissa go down certainly is off the table.
Yeah.
You need that next -2.
You need to block with at least one creature, and there's a lot of risk to just throwing 4 or 5 creatures in front of it if Mize just has like a Dramoka's command.
Because Logan played land 6 this turn, the advocate pumped all the way up to a 6/7, so it would cost Jason 3 of his creatures to block this. That makes it hard for him to win, right? If he loses 3 guys.
Right.
I mean, he'd win eventually, but not in these 3 turns he has.
Yeah, won't be enough time. Still has the potential to do it with an Ormondal, but suddenly Bounding Krasis would be looking very good.
He puts all right, but he's going to try to kill the advocate. He puts the entire team in front of Sylvan Advocate. And that was one of the lines here, right? If it was either block it with 1 or kill it.
If you block it with more than 1 creatures, you need to make sure that you actually kill it. Throwing the entire team in front of it when your creatures are all just expendable, that's totally fine.
If we're going to kill it, we need to make sure even double Dramoka's command doesn't get us.
Right.
So, which would be hard because Logan has an island, but you need to play through everything. So 3 creatures trade away for the advocate. That's a win for Logan, though, I think.
Yeah. I'm inclined to agree.
Jason Smith going to make another human on the end step. He has 2 Westvale Abbeys, so he can make 2 creatures a turn. Keep in mind, though, he does lose a life point every time he does this. So now turn 1 will be Jason Smith's. He is in no danger of losing this game, not with the creatures he has and that blighted step.
Right.
This is all about whether or not Jason can win.
Right, and the thing is, if he doesn't win this game, he does lose this match. So that's what he has to figure out, is how he's going to win this game.
Looks like he's making more tokens up. He's decided to win this game via tokens instead of using Ormondal.
Yeah, and I think with being in turns, the fact that a Bounding Krasis can blow the Ormondal plan wide open, the tokens plan's a lot safer. Given that he's on the tokens plans, though, that team block on the Advocate is questionable.
All right, so he's going to make a token off Westvale Abbey, now cash out the Nissa for a counter on all his creatures. So 6 creatures total. It's 2 human tokens. They're 2/2s. He has a crew of 3/3s now, which actually is not significantly better than Logan's board.
Right. The Krasis can still jump in front of the plant token. The plant token is just a 2/3 and just eat it. The Logan's going to be throwing some 2/2s in front of some creatures that don't necessarily make great blocks, but now Jason's team is so small because of that block on the Advocate. And we see the plant token hang back, especially with this size of an attack, just because the Krasis would just eat it.
And Jason starts the attack. So here come all the creatures. Logan's got to figure out how to block. Now he has life points to work with. He is at 20.
Right, given that this game is going to come down to turns, though, he just wants to keep as much life points as he can. That's why you see him considering that chump block there.
Yeah, well, he's trading Krasis with Visionary. He put 2 Duskwatch Recruiters in front of the Thraben Inspector, so that actually is just going to be a trade for a Recruiter for the Inspector. Now he's deciding whether he wants to chump block with the other Inspector or maybe just take some damage, and he'll let it stay.
Right, the blocks that he has on the table right now are the good blocks.
Yeah, we're not at the chump block point of the game yet.
Right.
So we see a trade of 2 creatures for 2 creatures. Logan goes to 17.
And if there's no spell this turn, then those recruiters will be 3/3s to trade with 3/3s on the next turn.
Yeah, they can recruit up somebody.
Yeah, they can do that too.
And with Jason losing his board, he may have to be concerned as well. This blighted step is becoming worse.
Well, it would be very surprising if Mize actually killed Jason in this game.
All right, fair enough. Logan has lost all his board. He'll Duskwatch Recruit on Jason's end step. 3 cards. He does find a Sylvan Advocate. That's a great find. A 4/5 for 2 is very welcome here.
Yeah. Just any creature is good. that one especially so. If he was able to do something like cast a Reflector Mage to bounce a token, it would be hard to imagine Smith closing the door.
Don't believe any spells were cast last turn. A lot of pseudo spells: Westvale Abbey, Nissa, Duskwatch Recruiter. It is a optional trigger, so if Logan misses it, it is possible for them to remain unflipped if Jason's not want them to flip. And I don't imagine Jason wants them to flip right now. 2/2s are much. Letting Logan's creatures become 3/3s would be much better.
Right. Given the fact that we are in turns, there's nothing about this game that suggests that value matters. Board presence is all we care about.
Yeah, and if you look at Logan's hand, he has a negate and a pair of Reflector Mages here. Yeah. So yeah, judges ruling the triggers were missed. Jason is given the option as to whether or not he wants the triggers to be put on the stack. The answer is no. No, he doesn't. So they are not put on the stack. And Logan will get 2/2s.
And for that reason, Reflector Mage costs 3 mana. So
yeah, not 2.
We see a third land tap there.
1 will bounce the plant token. And Jason is actually now at minus significantly below 5 creatures, so the Westvale Abbey plan's off the table here.
You know, maybe I need to double check my math on whether or not Jason can win this game if he doesn't throw his team in front of the Advocate a couple turns ago. But it's looking a lot like he won't have enough.
I don't know that he's not going to die here. I'm being very serious right now. So Sylvan Advocates to play for Logan. He's going to pass. But if Logan were to turn those recruiters sideways, it's not guaranteed that he can't kill Smith.
Yeah, if they were just turned into 3/3s, then he'd be attacking into a team of 2/2s. Everything else was tapped there.
Yeah. On unstep, Jason will go to 6 to make another human token. One of those 2 human tokens was not summoning sick, and thanks to Cryptolith Rite, it gave him the 5th mana to activate Westvale Abbey.
Right. He still does just have 8 life on the table with that land.
And we're back to Smith. A large number of lands here. The skies are clear for the 9/7. It would cost Jason most of his board. So he's going to start by making a token. So he now has exactly 5 creatures. Well,
now we just hope for no Bounding Crisis and no Reflector Mage on the following turn.
Yeah, so now he's going to Westvale Abbey. The church will be broken open and the demon will come forth. It's the Ormondal, the Profane Prince, the 9/7, Indestructible, Lifelink, Flyer, Haste. It'll attack Logan down to 8, Jason up to a strong 14. There are some concerns here, though. Logan could Reflector Mage. Logan could even attack for 14, possibly. Over 2 turns for sure.
He does only get 1 more in this game.
Okay, turn 4. Right, Logan's is turn 4. So you go back here. Both of Logan's creatures flip.
So given that he's not activating a Recruiter with that trigger in the stack, suggests to me that he has a Reflector Mage or a Crisis already.
So the record, Logan has 12 damage in play. So, yeah, I mean, first of all, I think he has the Reflector Mage for the Ormondal.
Well, there we go.
There we go.
That's the match.
And that'll bounce Ormondal. On top of that, I think even if this game plays out to its natural conclusion, we talked before about it's not Logan winning. Logan's playing for a draw here, right? I think Logan wins this game.
Yeah, at this stage, looking at the board now, I'm inclined to agree. If we rewind, though, I have to believe that Smith had some winning lines there.
It seems very... I mean, it seemed like Smith did not want to turn any of his Westvale Abbeys into Ormondal for fear of Reflector Mage. And to be fair, that was a correct fear. Ormondal was a big deal.
But whether it came down to just attacking into the Advocate or blocking it or something like gaining life with the Blighted Step and then making Ormondal to give yourself a cushion first, he did have some alternate lines to explore, and the game that he played was just a lot of flailing. Yeah, so Logan, despite being able to attack, only takes the Vigilance attack with Sylvan Advocate. He's going to sit here on his Game 1 win and 5 turns, and that's going to do it. Game 2 does not conclude. Logan Mize 1-0 wins the match over Jason Smith, and him and his Bant Company deck, they are at 11-1 at the top of the tournament. Yeah, very impressive.